What's up, guys? Emily here with emlovz, concluding my 20 platonic dates in 90 days, a spin-off social experiment from my 100 date experiment I did 10 years ago. I thought, well, this might be a great opportunity to really experiment with friendship and platonic relationships, which are so important and so critical even when you're dating. And I've collected what I've learned from this experiment, and I'd like to share that with you now. So first things first, what inspired this experiment? This is actually what was on my wall during this experiment as I was keeping track of all of the things I was learning, and I've collected all of my learnings here in this training. What inspired this experiment, first of all, was COVID, right? All of us went from working in offices and working around people to being completely at home, remote work. You know, you lost contact with people. Some people moved away. I live in the city. I moved away. Other people moved away. And so really the COVID pandemic inspired a lot of this. I also had a falling out with a friend that really meant a lot to me, and I wanted to better understand what caused it to happen and what it meant for me in friendship. The 100 date experiment that I did back 10 years ago, when I really examined my romantic relationships, I thought, hey, why not make one for platonic relationships as well? I wanted to use the same principles of mega dating, which is the process of dating multiple people at the same time in a low stakes environment, to really compare and contrast different options that I had for platonic friendship. And the cool thing with platonic friendship is that you don't have to like cancel out people. You can keep everybody that you enjoy. And so you're not looking for just one friend. I also chatted with the guy who did 50 dates in 50 states, and that inspired me. He recorded each one of his dates and did his own experiment and kind of re-energized me to think of this experiment as well. I also hired a friendship coach after I had a falling out with a friend. I thought that might be helpful, and I learned some things from her. I also stopped drinking during COVID. So I realized, man, I can't go to bars. I have no idea how to make friends as an adult who doesn't drink. And so if this is something that resonates with you, just know that it's totally possible. And it's actually really fulfilling to make friends without going to bars and meeting drunk people. So first things first, what I learned was you've really got to admit to yourself that friendship is important. So I spent a lot of years telling myself that friends just come and go. And if I really looked at the root cause of where that came from, it was a defense mechanism that I used to avoid the feeling of loss and abandonment that occurred when I moved away from my friends as a child. So it was a trauma response. I avoided going deep with friends because I was afraid I'd lose them again. And the most important first step I took in this experiment was to admit to myself that friendship was very important to me, right? I could say, oh, work is this, and I'm focusing on my career, and I'm focusing on my romantic relationship, but you got to actually admit that friendship is important to you. And the same is true if you're doing a romantic experiment. You've got to admit to yourself that love and connection is important to you and that you deserve it. And maybe you just don't know how to do it right? It was this underlying premise that friends come and go, so they aren't that important, that kept me stuck for 27 years. If you're looking for more meaningful relationships, be it romantic or platonic, you must first decide that this is important to you. If it is important, then you will stop avoiding it. But if your ego deems it as unimportant, which it may, due to protecting you from pain and loss, you will continue to avoid it, right? Our ego wants to keep us safe. And if we've had past experience where we got hurt, our ego tells us to shut down and put up a wall and, make an excuse, create a narrative that maybe friends come and go or friends aren't that important. But you know what? If you really get honest with yourself, you might find that it is important for you. One of the things I learned on this experiment is don't flake, okay? Only commit if you're 100% sure. Add the commitment to your calendar, okay? This is just as important as if you commit to something at work, you put it on your calendar. Flaking harms the relationship. So find people who are prioritizing what you're prioritizing. It's really important. Stop making someone a priority in your life who doesn't prioritize you in theirs. If you're finding that other people are flaking on you repeatedly, stop making them a priority in your life because they're not prioritizing you. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means that person is not prioritizing friendship. Reconnect with old friends. Try asking for their help or opinion on something. This was a game changer for me. You might say something like, I'm horrible at wedding planning and I know you're a rock star at it. Can I get your opinion on something? This is really vulnerable. Like all of this stuff, admitting that you really want friendship, admitting that friendship is important, and admitting that you may not know exactly what you're doing. All of this is really vulnerable. Asking for help is really vulnerable, but it's so powerful. And when you start practicing this in your romantic life, in your personal life, in your professional life, your entire world is going to change. Another thing I learned is that it's fun to try new things, and you get to try new things when you mega date, whether that's platonically or romantically. Friends can really bring new experiences into your life. In my experiment, I got to try Kundalini yoga for the first time, integral hatha yoga, stand-up paddleboarding, acupuncture, cabaret, all kinds of cool things that maybe I hadn't done in the past or I hadn't experienced in a long time. So it's really fun when you put yourself out there. Another thing I would say, if you're doing this 90 days experiment where you're doing 20 either platonic or romantic dates in 90 days, say yes to any invitation you receive in this 90-day period. This might show you that you actually are getting invited to a lot of things, but you're the one who's blocking it. So pay attention to what nourishes you when you say yes versus what drains you and who you're with. This is an experiment. It's not going to last forever. If you say yes to everything in a 90-day period, you're going to get really clear about what nourishes you and what drains you, what you should say yes to, even when you're tired or cranky, and what you should say no to in the future. So something to keep in mind, you have more time than you think, right? Try doing FaceTime as a way to connect. Try Zoom, try virtual dates, whether they're platonic or romantic. You don't have to mobilize and go meet somebody in person to form a connection. Connection is about quality time. That can happen on a phone call, can happen on a Zoom call. This helps you to see if you're compatible with the other person because you can see and hear them. 80% of communication is nonverbal. So whether you're meeting a romantic partner or a platonic partner, doing a phone call first is a great way to see if you're a good fit. You also don't have to commit to anything too intense before you know if there's good chemistry. When a friend asks for help, say yes. Oh my God, you guys have no idea how many times I realized during this experiment that I had said no to somebody who asked for my help. It is hard enough to ask for help, let alone to be rejected when you ask for help. It's a terrible feeling. So say yes. Yes, I would love that. And then really try and make it work. If you can't, then that's fine, but really try. Then when you need help, they're going to also be more willing to help you as well. Don't say, I don't want to bother you. So, if somebody says, oh, come to this party, it's going to be really fun. It's this person maybe you don't know. And you're like, oh, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to intrude. Don't say that, right? Say yes, or suggest an alternative when you're invited to hang out. Be proactive. Woo, my goodness. Okay. So if you know anything about your attachment style, which is something that I teach my students in my program, is to find out what their attachment style is. I'll tell you what, I am naturally avoidant. I became a secure attached in my romantic relationships, but I don't think I solved that problem in my platonic relationships until this experiment. And when you're avoidant, you kind of just sit back and wait for other people to invite you to things rather than put yourself out there, because being proactive means you could get rejected. But you got to put yourself out there and be proactive when you are trying to meet people that are compatible with you. Most people in the world are reactive. It is easier to say yes than it is to invite somebody to do something. Being the inviter is actually harder because it forces you to face rejection. So if you never invite your friends out, if you never invite the girls out, you never invite people out that you want to hang out with, this is why you're lonely. Okay? You're not going to have the girl that you want. You're not going to have the friends that you want. You're not going to have the hobbies that you want. And you're not going to have the job you want if you're not proactive. You can't sit back and wait for her to knock on your door. It won't happen. So you have to be proactive. This is something that is hard for a lot of us because it is a lot easier to sit back on your couch and wait for the invitations to roll in. But I tell you what, you're going to learn later in this training that relationships are reciprocal. You can't just sit back and wait. Your life will not be the way you want it to be if you're not proactive. Period, point blank, end of story. Winners go get what they want. Yeah. You also need to be positive. Don't be negative. People can really feel your energy. Even if you don't say anything negative. If you're sad, if you're mad, if you're unhappy, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, that emotion can be toxic and contagious. And I really was able to clearly identify people who were negative, whether they said it straight out or whether their vibe just felt really sad. And so if something's wrong in your life, You got to work to fix it. Don't be a victim. Don't just whine about how things aren't going your way. You got to be proactive and change it, because nobody really wants to be, around a victim. Which brings me to my next point. People avoid victims. It's not cute. It's not attractive. Whining about your life and not changing it, not taking responsibility for your life is not going to win you friends. It's not going to win you the girl you want. It's not going to win you the job you want. It's just not good. It's toxic to be a victim. It's toxic to be a victim. Don't say things like, I hate my job. One of the people I was talking to on Bumble BFF, like that was the first thing she said to me. I'm like, why? Like, I don't want to hang out with somebody who doesn't like have purpose in their life. This is true. Women don't want to date a guy who hates his job. If you hate your job, you got to fix that first. You got to love what you do. You got to be passionate. Nobody wants to be around somebody who can't make good choices in their life. And I'm sorry to call you out. I've been that person who hated their job and thought they were a victim. It just wasn't cute. It's not going to win you friends. So change it, fix it. Victim mode repels people. When you're in victim mode, you're not taking responsibility for your life, right? You're just whining. Complaining is what victim mode is. So really notice when you're complaining. I can be a victim too. And when I do, I got to catch myself. It's not cute. It means I need to change something. It means I need to take responsibility for whatever is going wrong in my life, whether it is not, regardless of whether it's your fault or not, you're the only one that can change your feelings. So you really don't want to be a victim. When someone asks you how you're doing, don't say hanging in there or fat, broken, ugly, or anything negative, because it really depresses people and they don't know what to say next. I've been guilty of this. So I'm not harping. But yeah, it's not sexy. It's not attractive. It's not cool or fun. And it's not what the cool kids do, right? The more you complain, the more people will avoid you. They're not going to invite you to go out, right? They're going to say no when you invite them places. Rejection doesn't mean anything. This was news to me. You attribute the meaning to rejection. So if somebody says, I can't do it, it's in your head that you're attributing the rejection to what it means. It actually is neutral. Rejection is neutral. It doesn't mean you're good or bad. It doesn't mean you're cool or lame. It doesn't mean you're ugly or hot, right? It's neutral. It's what you're attributing the meaning to. Rejection doesn't actually matter. It holds no weight, no significance. Rejection is neutral. This is why mega dating is so powerful, because it shows you when you do things in rapid succession, you don't get stuck on any one person, and you don't take rejection as personally. Scarcity mindset focuses on one person at a time, and when you get rejected by only one person you're focusing on, it's devastating. Mega dating, on the other hand, it equals abundance mindset, right? You're focusing on so many people, you're honestly kind of happy when you get rejected. Mega dating changes the way you experience rejection. It changes the way you attribute meaning to rejection. You no longer worry about rejection. You're actually kind of happy because you get your social calendar so full. You're like, oh my God, I can't possibly go on all these platonic or romantic dates that I have the opportunity to go on. So it shifts the way you look at it. It just shifts the way it feels in your body. It changes the meaning you attribute to the event. Schedule your dates. If you say yes, put it on your calendar, okay? Have respect for other people's time. Manage the expectations around the time as well. So if you say, hey, I've only got an hour, I'm happy to come, but I only have an hour. Now you're managing expectations well. Before saying yes, ask yourself, is this really important to me? Why? Okay. Be there when you say you're going to be there. If you say, yes, I can make that phone call at 3. Yes, I can join you for coffee at 9. Be there when you said you were. Commit to what you say. Your word is gold. Make your word gold. Everything you say, you need to stick to. Otherwise, the second you stop sticking to that, the second you're late, the second you don't show up, you don't answer the call when you said you would, you're breaking trust. If you can't prioritize someone in particular, get curious about why that is. Is that because you don't see value in that relationship? Or is it because, what is it? Stick to your promises. Make an effort for people. If you don't make an effort for other people, they're not going to make an effort for you. They don't show up to your birthday. They make excuses for why they can't show up. Think about all the times you did that back. Right? Like attracts like. You got to be a good friend to get good friends. On the flip side, if you make an effort for others and they don't make an effort for you, examine why you're allowing them to take more than they give. The relationship bank account, got to make a deposit to take out money. So don't just have somebody taking, got to make deposits. It goes both ways. Are there other areas of your life where you are giving more than you're taking? Are you seeing this in the workplace? Are you seeing this in romantic relationships? Are you seeing this in your family? Usually that's where it starts, family. Are you serious about making connections? If friendship is truly a priority for you now, then are you prioritizing it? Are you saying yes when you get invited to something? Are you the one reaching out to invite others to do things? This was so powerful for me to learn. Are you the one reaching out to invite others to do things? It is so easy to avoid that. But friends don't want to always be the one inviting you to do stuff. You got to be proactive. Or are you sitting back saying no and waiting for the perfect friend to knock on your door and invite you to do something worthwhile? She's not going to knock on your door, especially if you have not been making debits in the emotional bank account. Or is that right? Deposits. That's right. Deposits. How to make connections on a Zoom meeting. Send a private direct message to someone in the Zoom meeting. Option A, comment on their share or something they said. You go to a Zoom meeting, you see all these people, you can easily form connections. You might say something like, love what you said about X. Would love to learn more about Y if you'd be up for a chat. Get their number if you do this. Great. You could offer to also help them or send info they need or might want. Hey, I heard you say this in the share. I know a guy who does this. It might be helpful. Let me know if you want his contact info. Something like that, right? If you reach out the next day in a Facebook group or a Slack channel or Discord channel, say something like, hey, I love what you had to say about X during yesterday's chat. Would love to grab a coffee and learn more if you're open to it. Yeah, just being direct. Go after what you want. Ask for what you want. And the more you make a date and you're doing this with multiple people, like the less pressure it is because you're like, no, I'm just doing this with everybody. Send a nice text after. This was a very sweet message and took me from not being sure if I wanted to hang out again to definitely wanting to hang out again. So this person, after the first time we met, said, just want to say that you are super cool, Emily. Not sure I was fully my best self today, but would love to catch up again sometime soon. This like melted my heart. It was so vulnerable. It was so kind. It was so thoughtful. I was like, this is definitely somebody I want in my life. So send that nice text. Thank you so much for meeting up. It was great to see you. Yeah, I'd love to hang out again. Something like that. Don't be difficult. Make it easy to schedule with you. Friends sometimes schedule weeks in advance. This is brand new information because I teach my students to schedule 3 days in advance for dating, but for friendship, I learned that sometimes people really book way far in advance. If you can't make it, suggest an alternative. Ooh, this is just something that I need to hear over and over and over and over and over again. I'm going to put a sticky note on my wall. If you can't make it, suggest an alternative. That's showing the person you care. You want to get to know them. You want to spend time with them. And really, if you can't make it, like really think about why that is. Kill two birds with one stone. Leverage industry contacts. Or so I thought, okay? Industry contacts sometimes feel like work. So what I would do is I was trying to make friends with people in my industry. I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. We have so much in common. But what I found was there's often a barrier or a wall up between yourself and industry contacts. Competition may be the reason. I don't know. It may take longer to turn an industry contact into a closer connection. And for me, it just felt like way less fun. What I loved for making platonic friends was Bumble BFF. I think it is the best way to meet people, hands down. In fact, I think dating apps in general, if you know what to do, are the most amazing tool of all time since sliced bread, okay? If you know how to set them up, you can find the most compatible people in the entire planet. Like the old way that I would make friends is like go to events I was interested in and then maybe that person would talk to me. That is so passive. Like, what am I waiting for the universe to bring me what I want? Bumble BFF is like the best way. If you know how to set up your profile, I teach this for people who are looking for romantic mega dating, how to set up their profile so that they get deeply compatible matches. But it blew my mind when I did it with platonic relationships. I was like, whoa, these people are so deeply compatible with me. It's scary. Like, it's a little scary, but I love it. Like, it's the coolest thing ever. Honestly, I don't know why people hate dating apps or apps in general. These apps are amazing. I think Bumble BFF is so brilliant. As long as you know how to set up your profile, you're going to make the most compatible connections through an app. It's the smartest algorithm on the planet, okay? You're going to find all the people who have things in common with you that are super deep. It's going to be so easy. It's going to be such an effortless connection. Although it does take time. It is a big experiment, right? So who you attract the first week, you might be like, oh, I don't really like these things about them. Okay, let me shift my profile and start attracting different things. Some profile tips: add photos and prompt responses of you doing activities that you'd like to do with your Bumble BFF friends. That was a game changer for me. I found so many people that were like into surfing and kiteboarding and paddleboarding and doing all this cool stuff that I'm into. Make sure to articulate your wants on your profile. So think of the keywords that describe what you're looking for. I'm looking for entrepreneurs who like deep dish pizza and are smart, kind, inclusive, curious, spiritual, and successful. We'll get along if you're a minimalist who loves bulldogs, Frankie Quinones, Ali Wong, Kevin Hart, Stranger Things, scuba diving, surfing, kiteboarding, painting, dancing, or acting, and you think Limitless and Fight Club were the 2 best movies ever made. Use keywords to help you match with compatible people. Anything in this list, if somebody latches onto and is like, me too, I'd be like, let's meet up, because I'm sure that we have so much other stuff in common. That's awesome. Like if you know who Frankie Quinones is, or you also like kiteboarding, like I want to talk to you. We probably are deeply compatible, right? So really getting that stuff on your profile. One of the biggest lessons I learned in this whole thing was that relationships are reciprocal. It is a bank account. It's a bank account. You got to make a deposit before you take money out, you know? Make a deposit before you take. Add value first. Put in the work first. Be proactive first. Suggest the activity first. Avoid energy vampires. Look for people who nourish your energy. Make a list of them. Ask yourself, who in my life do I feel this way with? Who do I feel drained, right? Make a list of people who drain your energy. Include all connections, friends, family, coworkers. You might find a pattern really interesting. Any primary caregivers on this list. They may have become your model for how relationships should be, and now you could be repeating a pattern because it's all you've known. Next, make a list of people who nourish your energy. Notice too if there aren't any. Yeah, let me say that again. Notice also if there aren't any. This information. A lot of times we have primary caregivers who may have a little bit of an issue. They're doing the best they can, I get it, but they might have had an issue that they passed down to us. Maybe our primary caregivers were energy vampires, and then we started thinking that is who we should hang out with because that's like what we saw. And now all of the people in our life are energy vampires, and we can't figure out why we don't want to prioritize friendships. It's because they're all energy vampires. We don't want that. Examine your commitments. Do I feel obligated or excited? Okay, during this 90-day period, if you're doing this, whether it's romantic or platonic, say yes to everything and notice, do I feel obligated or do I feel excited? Ask yourself, why do I say yes to things I don't want to do? Okay, when's the first time you remember doing that? Why did you? Is this a pattern that's been playing out for a long time? Ask yourself, why do I say no to things I do want to do? I'm guilty of this. I want to do these things. And then I say no. What? What am I afraid of? Am I afraid of being vulnerable? And am I afraid of putting myself out there? Am I afraid that something will be out of my control? Am I afraid of rejection? What is it? Right? Get clear. When's the first time you remember doing that? Why did you? Is this a pattern that's been playing out for a long time? Create a no-go list, okay? Things that you admit you don't want to do anymore, okay? Make a commitment to yourself that you won't be doing these things anymore. When someone invites you to do one of these things, explain to them why you're not able to do it so they understand. Not just, I can't do it. No, I don't do it anymore. I don't do that anymore. It's not resonating with me. I don't go to that anymore because I don't believe in the same things that they believe in. I don't like to be in groups because of COVID. I'd prefer to do outside activities. Suggest an alternative so that the person who invited you to do this doesn't feel rejected if you actually want to have a relationship with them. And part of this process is getting clear on like, why do I want to have a relationship with these people? Yeah? If a friend takes time out of their day to help you, say thank you. Say thank you. It's nice of people to help you. It's nice of people to give you their time. It's very nice. Examine who you subconsciously avoid. Okay, this is what I learned about myself. I avoid putting myself out there with potential friends who I think might reject me. So if you notice you do the same thing, this might be romantically, it might be platonically. Your homework assignment, my next platonic date should be out of my league. Should be somebody who feels out of my league. Let's outline what that looks like. What does out of my league mean? Articulate what this means to you, okay? Reach out to people you admire. This is so hard for me. I was really struggling with this one. Notice who you might be avoiding. And naturally your narrative might be like, I don't know anybody who I admire. That's probably not true. You're probably just avoiding it, which is easy to do. From my 20 platonic dates in 90 days experiment, I learned that I avoid women who look like me, who are blonde, who seem popular, who appear stable financially, professionally, mentally, and emotionally. This got me starting to get a little nervous. I avoid women who are pretty, who are white, who are skinny, who look rich, who have impressive careers. So this is who I want to start going after to address my subconscious avoidance. I want to understand why I'm like this. I already kind of know why. It's because people when I was growing up who look like that, they rejected me. And so I'm afraid that that's going to happen again. But you know what? We're adults now. Things are totally different now, right? And maybe I don't even know why they rejected me. Like, who knows? Maybe they didn't. Maybe I just felt like I wasn't cool enough for them. You never know. But I want you to like test yourself on all this. And if you're doing this in dating, I want you to test yourself. Why do I avoid the beautiful woman? Actually, the beautiful woman is actually easier to get, usually. I'm not even kidding. Like, there's reasons for that. But you know, there's no need to be intimidated. Or if you are, get curious about it, right? Notice your narrative. I found that I was making up stories about the women I was avoiding. I would think things like, she's a snob, or she's materialistic, because maybe she had a nice purse. That's a defense mechanism that was created by the ego to attempt to protect us from pain or rejection. The ego tries to keep us safe. And if we had an experience in the past with a certain type of person, we might have created this narrative in our mind that all people who are like that are going to hurt me. They're going to cause me pain, but that's just not true. But it might also be a false narrative, which is why it's critical to test your underlying assumptions. You can also create your red flag list. This can serve as a disqualifier for you to level up who you attract. As you're going through this process, you're naturally going to level up, because you don't have unlimited time for everybody. So in the beginning, the floodgates are open, but as you get closer to the finish line, you got to get naturally more selective. So you got to create a red flag list. Some examples I found in my journey. Somebody who's just getting out of bed at noon is not compatible with me because I get up early and I like to be productive. I'm not compatible, probably not going to be compatible with somebody who has no photos with other people on their profile, right? And there's a whole bunch of other things you could think of. Here's why people stop inviting you to things. Ooh, this is so magical, you guys. They stop inviting you to things because you say no. And the invitee doesn't want to get rejected again. If you say no, suggest an alternative. If you say no, explain why, so the other person knows. Otherwise, they might stop inviting you to things you would like to go to because they assume you'll say no to everything. So I had one girl who rejected me and she just said, no, I can't make it. Or no, I won't be able to go there. I won't be able to go to that. But I didn't really know why. Is it because you have something else going on? Is it because you don't like what I invited you to? Like, what is the reason? Yeah, I had somebody else who did a better job. So thank you so much for the invitation. I actually get a little anxious in big groups, but I'd love to meet for coffee one-on-one. Are you free Saturday at 11? This is the perfect response because it makes sure that the person who is inviting you to do that thing knows that they're valued, that you care about them, that you want to connect with them. It just, maybe whatever they invited you to is not a fit for you. Just explain it. Hey, actually, I would love to go to that, but I'm actually not drinking anymore. And so it can be a little bit triggering for me to be in a bar. Yeah, being so vulnerable like that is really, it's really so powerful because then you form a deeper connection. That person knows you care. This was a great way to say it. How to say no politely, an excellent rejection response. Okay, cool. Thanks for the invite. Really nice. I'm partial to outdoor activities with more than a handful of people for COVID prevention. Sorry, I'm a freak like that and working on getting more comfy with it. That was so great the way she said that. It didn't make me feel rejected at all because she wasn't saying no to me. She's saying no to the activity. So then I said, oh, no worries at all. That's helpful for me to know too. So I don't invite you to stuff that you're not good with, right? Communication is so powerful. Such a powerful thing. Use good friends as your role model. Ever notice the friends who always make an effort for you? What about the friends who always invite you to do things? Use these people as your role model and copy their proactive approach. When they invite you to do something, invite them to do something back. Don't just make it one way. And invite someone else to do something too. So maybe they're your role model, and now every time they reach out to you, you reach out to somebody else too. So you're learning from them. They're your role model. It's okay if you didn't have primary caregivers who knew how to show you how to be a great friend, because you might have a great friend in your life already that's doing an excellent job that you can use as your role model. Just copy what they do. Model that behavior. Just do it. Don't flake. Okay? Even if you're tired, go. When your friend invites you to meet up, go, even if you're tired, because it's better to be tired and have friends than be wide awake with no friends. Okay? If you flake on your commitments to friends because you're tired or just don't feel like it, they learn to stop inviting you to things because it hurts their feelings when you flake. And that is all I have for this training. If this was helpful, you guys, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. This is some new territory for me, but I think mega dating can be used in many different ways to create a more fulfilling, rewarding life. If you're looking for help on your romantic journey and you would like to try mega dating, I can definitely help with that. Check out my free masterclass below this video to learn more about my coaching philosophy and how you can use mega dating to really find the right romantic partner. But either way, if you're using this for platonic relationships, so cool. Go for it. I believe in you. Try 20 dates in 90 days, platonic or romantic. It will change your life, I promise. And if you like this video, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.